All right, all you snowboarders of the internet, we're live. It's Friday the 17th. There's fucking snow coming down outside and people not knowing how to drive and ambulance sirens and someone probably died out there. I don't fucking know. It's the end of goddamn days out there. Anyways, we're here to answer some questions for you, and by we I mean me, because I think Kevin will turn into the chat. If you have any questions, put them over in the chat right over there or down below or wherever the hell it shows up on the mobile app, because they friggin' changed that. It's a little weird out there in the YouTube world right now. Shout out to my man Bottled and Cork for the RIPL Stacker super chat. Yeah, right. One of the things that we do have going on in this is I will be answering some of the Angry Snowboarder VIP questions. So if you're not a member of Angry Snowboarder VIP, you could not pre-ask questions, but for the members, we did allow that. So we're going to give you some of those. Hopefully everyone is getting out for MLK weekend and going snowboarding. Just don't be nice to skiers. I mean, I know MLK was like all about unity and desegregation and shit, but fuck skiers. Just fuck them. Okay. Anyways, let's see what we got here for some questions from the VIP folks. Let's see. Okay, Frank Bazad, your comparison analysis between the Burton skeleton key and the Hometown Hero base shapes, please. The big thing is the flex patterns on those boards is what really makes the difference in how they ride. The skeleton key is actually more damp and stiffer than the Hometown Hero, which is the big thing. So that's really the only thing that I can say about what the difference is between the Hometown Hero and the skeleton key. I know there's some like profiling differences as well, but I think the flex is what makes the skeleton key so different. Also, remember, if you have any questions, put them over in the chat right there. I'll get to them when I get to them. Super chats go to the front of the line. Let's see what else we got going on here. Okay. From Miguel, in which conditions would you rather ride the K2 Cool Bean than the Endeavor archetype? The Cool Bean kind of excels at more medium to low angle pow, in my opinion. It's just got a little bit more float to it, so it keeps you upright when you're riding like that lower elevation. So that would be the big difference in there. But I do prefer the archetype in trees over the Cool Bean, just because the Cool Bean, you got such a wide profile in there. It doesn't have as much torsional flex, so it does make it a little bit more of a chore when you are riding trees. If I was going to just ride one for like spring days, just slashing around in the slush, it would be the Cool Bean. So yeah. Let's see what else we got going on here. Think no questions. No one really has any questions. That's fucking weird. In other news, Monday, you guys will be getting an audio podcast dropping. Hopefully, probably, I'd say by midday. I got to finish editing that tomorrow, but as new is the 2020 podcast, Kevin and I discuss magnitude of topics. From worst state drivers to inbounds avalanches, possibly causing people to have to ride inbounds with transceivers in the future. We talk about Crystal Mountain having stopped selling with their stopping selling day tickets as well on weekends and holidays. So got that going on, and then we'll have the videos of that. Also, you'll be getting a bunch more product reviews. So there's a few more binding reviews, few more board reviews. I did just ride the Nidecker Tracer yesterday, which was a fun little asymmetrical carving board. And I've got a board from Will Snowboards here too. So I'll be checking that out. All right. Cameron Holmrest, where did Randy the warranty guy go? Just got a brand new Capita with a bubble in the top sheet. Randy is passed out from a Zima bender again, but he will be making an appearance in 2 videos very, very soon. So Randy is not dead. Maybe even 3 videos if you're really lucky. If you're really, really lucky. Let's see. Uh, Adnan Fazlik, hey bud, I've been riding the Signal Yup this season and it's seriously amazing. Is the new wheelboard a million times better? I haven't ridden it yet. We'll find out. I do know that it is drastically wider than the Yup, and it is also heavier. That was like the weird thing, knowing the factory, because it's the same factory that's making the Yup. When I picked it up, it's got some fucking girth to it. Like I was actually surprised. Normally, I don't notice board weights, and that one I was like, oh, this thing is a girthy bitch. So, um, yeah. Glenn Martin, Rome agent review angry. Yes. There's an agent and a warden review coming probably next week, actually. There's I've got 3 videos I've got to finish editing, and 2 of those are Rome videos. So get those and get those up. I know it's the long weekend, everyone's out doing their thing and whatnot. So all right. Let's see what we got here. SB 309. What are some decent shops in the Eagle Summit area that do boot fittings? I mean, if you're talking like getting a custom orthotic made, you could probably check out any of the Christie Sports locations, like the one in the Peak, base of Peak 9. You could go talk to Matt Nichols over there, and he probably would, if he wouldn't do it, there's probably a boot fitter there. Otherwise, you could check the Christies at Dillon Ridge and ask for Travis Hoffarth. If you're in, let's see, Eagle, I don't really know too many people over there. I want to say that like the Burton shop over there might have something going on in Lion's Head, but I might be wrong with that. I haven't been in that shop in a couple of years. I know that if you stop into Underground and you're just trying to get fit for a boot in Breckenridge, they do a pretty good job. The guys at Gravity at Copper, so Dylan, John, those guys, and Steve are pretty solid. Haley's a little questionable. She means well. She's still learning. So that's kind of what I would where I would go with that one. Raul Duke, pray for me. I'm driving to Minnesota tonight. Help. How's Afton Alps? It's on the Epic, isn't it? It's got to be epic conditions. Actually, I think they got snow, as someone was saying up there. So, yeah. All right. Engine, going on a test weekend, what are some 2021 boards I should look into? Kind of depends what you're looking for, but I know that Capita has a bunch of new stuff in their line, or some stuff got overhauled, like the 20-year Capita Black Snowboard to Death is an overhaul, and they overhauled the DOA core. You should check out the new Stratos from Jones as well. If Telos is there, maybe the Mike Ranquit Pro. Burton's got a few new boards this year in the family tree line as well. I was actually just going through a bunch of 2021 stuff. That's one thing that Kevin and I are going to address in the podcast when it drops. Because last year we did the 2020 product preview podcast, and obviously we're going to do the 2021 product preview podcast. We're going to drop it later after a lot of product leaks have been out. So Easy Lounging has stuff, Anarchy will have stuff, Zazupo's got stuff. So if you're looking for anything 2021, they've got it, but I'm not going to hype anything until probably end of April, start of May, after the buying season in North America is over, just because I've noticed that over the last few years that it really does affect the sales of everything going on in North America. And we need to have better sell through. We need to just have a stronger industry. So by pushing back all the hype and everything that we would drive, I think hopefully like long term it'll slowly like cause people to actually buy stuff this year, and we'll see better sell through. So yeah. Let's see what we got going on here. Tyler Barr, best boots for wide feet human flippers. So Solomon does make wide models, so you can always do that. Adidas run a little bit wider, Deluxe runs wider. Certain models of Burton come in a wide, and 32 tend to run wider as well. Let's see. Greg LaPont, any thoughts on the new Stratus? I was looking at it the other day. I was actually playing with it in Gravity at Copper, which they have, I think, 3 for sale over there because they got the limited runs. It's a little stiffer than I thought it was actually going to be because like where they said it was going to sit in the line, I thought it would be a little bit softer. I should have one sometime probably after the 6th of February would be my guess to ride. If you're a member of Angry Snowboarder VIP, you will get the written reviews early over there again this year. We'll start dropping the written reviews in June. All reviews should drop sometime around, my guess would be like mid to end of August, like we did last year. We'll do a big mass drop of 100 plus reviews, or depending whatever how many boards we ride this year. So yeah. Okay. Endomaster, thanks for the Marhar Lumberjack recommendation. Was one of the funnest boards ever. What would you recommend for an all mountain board in a similar style? So you're talking something volume shifted like that. Well, I think like the Super Pig or even the War Pig would be solid. Uh, if you want to go a little more directional and carvy, you could do the K2 Simple Pleasures. There's the short wide from LibTech. Let's see what else is out. You could do the Orca, although I think that thing's a little more hyped than it should be. Realistically, like the Lumberjack, you're looking at a twin wide rockered board. Let's see what else is out there. I'm really trying to think of what's out there. So yeah, I think that let's see. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Grease Witherspoon, my girlfriend is shorter than 5 feet. She rides a 138 now. Any recommends for a really short girl? Well, I don't know how much she weighs, so I could just throw board recommendations at you until the cows come home. It's really about her weight, not her height. And even though she's 5 feet, she could be 200 pounds. I mean, she could be one of those girls. She's 5 feet standing up. She sits down. She's 5'8" because her ass is so big. I don't really know. Jaybird and the Lou. Binding preferences on the Lumberjack and Trees and Pow. Heading to Jackson Hole. So before my Lumberjack blew up in a fucking house explosion, I was riding my K2 Indy Formula hybrids that I did. So it was basically like the old formula before they added canting to it. So you could always put that on there. Let's see. Cameron Halmra, sounds like SLC is getting an Evo store. They are. You heard it here first from me. I heard it from very reliable sources. It will be opening in the fall, I believe. I'm not sure exactly where in Salt Lake it's going to be, but it's going in. That's for sure. I've also heard rumors that Evo is going to open something in Europe. I don't know if that's true. Okay. Waterball, do you know if Sweet Sweet Kevin will make an appearance tonight? It's been a while since I've sexually harassed him. I think he's at work right now, but he was talking about possibly showing up. So who knows? Let's see. Sammy Elk, best all around board for a 240-pound rad dad. Ooh, you're a big boy. Ooh, that's a big Captain Warp Speed. There would also be like the Skunk Ape would probably be another one to look at. With that weight, you got some girth behind you. You might like the Telos DST, even though it's like I feel it's more of a carving board, but for your weight, you could probably actually ride it for like an all-arounder. Let's see what else we got going on. I mean, Jones Mountain Twin comes to mind as well. You could do the S typo, although I think even the wide models and the bigger sizes, I think you'd still overpower that. So maybe a yes standard if you wanted to go more twin, or you could even do like if you're less freestyle and you're more like carvy freeride, you could probably look at an optimistic or maybe even a hybrid. Keith Ridge, GNU Fun Guy review. Those boards are so limited. Getting one for a review is probably not going to happen for 2020. It'll be a 2021. I haven't talked to my rep yet about getting stuff from him, but if he's got one, I will definitely be getting on it. Let's see. Richard Hurleman. Hi, Averin. I had to ask, what's your personal definition between a snowboarder and someone who just snowboards? And could a weekend warrior ever be considered a snowboarder in your opinion? 100% a weekend warrior. See, the difference between a snowboarder and someone that snowboards, and I've got friends that are snowboarders that only ride like 10 days a year if they can, just because of lifestyle choices and what they're doing. And I know people, I mean, classic example of someone that's just a person that snowboards but rides 100 plus days a year is Jonathan Buckhouse. Fuck that kid. But it comes down to it's your mentality and what you want out of snowboarding and what snowboarding does for you and how snowboarding and the community and the culture and industry and everything reacts to you. Like, I think a snowboarder is someone that will always put snowboarding on a higher pedestal than them. Like, it'll never owe them anything. And they always want to try to give as much back to it as they can versus someone that's a snowboarder. It's like they want to take, like, oh, they owe me. Oh, I paid $550 for this pass. You owe me. You like, where's my discount? Where's this? What's this? You know, it's the person that, you know, they'll bother a rep to get a discount on something when they don't do shit for the snowboard industry and they would never buy it at full pop. It's someone that, you know, would never go out of their way to answer someone's question. Like, I might be a dick. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge fucking asshole and I legitimately hate talking to people most times. But if the question's right and I'm there, I will give you like the 2 cents or I'll try to help you as best I can and do it versus someone that's just like, well, that sucks and like has no real opinion. But it's a whole mindset of things. And it's like, if you're a snowboarder, you understand the culture, you understand it. Like, I've been places where I've been around a lot of people that snowboard and they want to just keep talking to me about snowboarding and they think that that's it. And then I've been places where you get someone that might only snowboard 10 days a year and they'll be like, oh, you snowboard? Yeah. What would you ride? I ride this. And, you know, you talk for like 2 minutes and then you'd be like, and then you start talking about golfing or something else that LARPing, I don't fucking know. And you go from there with it. And that could be it as well. So it's the way you carry yourself. It's how you feel about snowboarding. It's like you never really want to take and you always want to make it better than it was before you got there. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Oh shit. Got more people in the room. MPix00, when are we getting a riding video of you ripping on a board? Probably fucking never. I don't know. I put the donkey cam on today and went out and fucking rode for about 4 laps and then yelled at some fucking stupid ass mom that decided to stand around thumbjacking her queef hole in the fucking lift line and was like, you can go around me. I can't go around you, bitch. You're like 4 people wide. Where do you want me to go? You're holding the whole thing up to wait for little Timmy and Susie, who clearly is like 14 years old and get on the fucking chairlift, but that's another topic. No, realistically, like, you might get something. I don't know. I don't really care. I've got nothing to prove on a snowboard anymore. I have no cartilage in my knees. I'm missing a spleen. My right kidney is dead. I've shrunk because of spinal compression. I have 23 concussions. I have nothing left to prove. If I go out and ride, I'm going to go out and just do it for me and not care. But one thing I am trying to figure out, but this whole do tour at Copper thing fucking ruined it, was I wanted to do like Sundays in the Peace Park where like anyone could show up. We meet at like 11 o'clock. We ride for an hour in just Peace Park, have some fun. And that would be it. I still want to do some meetups. Like, I want to do one at Pow Mau in Utah. I'll probably do a barbecue at the Basin in the spring. Like, I'll buy a beach spot up there because I think they're like 100, $200 or something. But I get VIP front row parking. Bring the grill. I'll bring meat. I'll get Schaller and Weber to sponsor it, and just tell Jesse Dennis that he has to send me all the meats. And we'll do something where we can all meet up, go ride the Basin. So I know for you non-icon holders, that's gonna really suck because you'll probably have to buy lift tickets. But yeah, so yeah. All right, there we go. All right. Whew. Mike Sierra, who are the two people behind you? There's people behind me. I don't see anyone. Is there someone behind me? I don't see anyone. There's no one there. So must be a trick on the camera. Lee Hader, overall thoughts on the Burton flight attendant. It's fucking overrated. It's not that great of a board. It's just mediocre at best. There's actually a review of it in the Burton snowboards, or no, it's just in the snowboard playlist. I don't think I put it in the Burton uh, playlist yet. So yeah. Adam Cole, can we please talk shit about Buckhouse and the incident unless you already have missed the last Q&A? Oh, if you go watch the last live stream, I think it's like about 40 minutes in. I think someone put a timestamp in the comments. There's like a 25-minute rant where I just fucking go off. I really don't feel like talking about that kook. That kid is just a pile of shit. Let's see. Michael Cooley picked up the subculture, ate shit first two laps, all good now. Way more aggressive than my ray gun, but stable as shit. And a shit ton of fun. Yeah, well, yeah. Subculture from a ray gun's a lot different. You got a different camber profile, you got a stiffer flex, a deeper side cut, just a more aggressive board all the way across the spectrum. Ooh, good question from Vicky Tio. Hi, Angry. What's the difference having a stiff boot with soft bindings versus having a soft boot with stiff bindings? So the big thing is in the boot. Like, we'll get to the binding side of things first, but the boot. So when you have a stiff boot, it's like driving a car with a really stiff clutch. Like, you got to push it all the way down to get it to engage. But when you do, you get a different reaction versus a spongy ass clutch. Well, actually, I'm saying this wrong. Let's go with like a stage 3 racing clutch where you can just slap it and it goes. It's how the boot will actually engage. So like with a soft boot, when you go to flex into it, your ankle is going to start to flex out over the toe, then it's going to go over the ball of the foot, and then it's going to start to engage. Whereas a stiff boot, it's all moving as one piece. Like, there's going to be some flex to it, but it's not as much. It's not mushy, so that's going to do it. And when you do like a stiff boot, with soft bindings, you're getting that response from the boot in your ankle, then you hit that softer flexing binding. So it kind of mellows it out, but you're still getting that response from your ankle versus if you have a soft boot and a stiff binding, the strap is compensating more for it. And still you're getting a lot more play in that boot. So it's taking more energy to drive it, even though you've got a stiffer binding. So that's kind of it. And a lot of that has to do with personal preference and stuff. Like, I ride with my friend Ryan, who only ties his boot up to his instep, and then he leaves the top loose, so he's got a lot of ankle play. That's just how he rides. And he's a solid rider, that's his thing, but his whole argument is he's like, I just need that ankle lockdown, and then I got all the movement I need everywhere else, and I don't have knee problems. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see. Maxime Boucher, a friend of mine ordered a hoodie from Buckhouse because he liked the logo. Just received the worst piece of shit ever. Seems like it had been made by a 5-year-old blind amputee. So he's using Teespring, which uses lower quality stuff unless you actually source it and figure out how to do it. So like any YouTube personality that has stuff merchandise for sale, they have to go through specific shops because they're partnered with Google and YouTube. And most of those, like, the reason they're so cheap is that they use a really shit product. So when I was sourcing like my merchandise and stuff, I'd always do a test sample to see how it would show up and look and be like, would I buy this? And I got some stuff that like is just sitting in the other room that I was like, this is straight fucking garbage, and I would never wish anyone to buy it. A lot of the small batch stuff that I actually ship out and stuff, I've sourced like just the raws, and then the company that I work for, this down in Denver, like I have a good relationship with them, and we've been really quick. Like some of the stuff we did with the patches, the first batch is like, it's a good solid 3M adhesive on the back, but I didn't like the fact that mine started to loosen, so I actually had them sew it on and stuff. And that's the big difference is like if you spend the time to build quality merchandise, yeah, you can you're going to charge a little bit more, but the end consumer is going to get a better product. Like I could put a Teespring store on this and sell fucking angry shirts for 12, 15, $20 a pop. And they would be the shittiest fucking cotton blend shirts that probably have really crappy seams, really weird, whack ass fits. Or I could sit back and work with real brands and actually source things. And that's uh that's uh that's kind of it right there. Whew. Jimmy McElroy, how would the Nitro Quiver Cannon stack up to other good carving boards? So the Quiver Cannon, I don't really consider it a carving board. That is like if I was going to go carve from Nitro, there's so many different boards that I would choose. I would go with like the Banker, the Wood Carver, even a Supra Team before I would go with the Quiver Cannon. The Quiver Cannon is kind of a novelty board, and as it is a novelty board, yeah, it carves and you can go rip a carve, but do you really need a board that big to go carve with? No. I think like realistically, most of the other stuff that's in that size range of it and in the similar like marketing is actually stiffer and carves better, like the stuff from Moss, Gentum, depending which Gentums you get. So yeah. Uh, there you go. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, let's see. Eric Kim, Reds was a good late night spot. Great Euros and meatball subs. Thanks for the recommendation. Yeah, Reds is always a great late night spot. So for anyone coming to Breckenridge, if it's late night or the restaurants are really crowded, over on Park Avenue between the corner and Mikasa, there is a little kiosk called Above the Blue or Reds. My friend Reds actually runs it. It's affordable food. You got street meat, you got pork street tacos, Euros, Philly cheesesteaks, stuff like that, meatball subs, pulled pork sandwiches. Great late night spot in Breckenridge. Highly recommend it. Actually got recognized there at like 1:30 in the morning on Monday after doing a podcast with Kevin. Like I went to go get a Euro because I hadn't eaten all day, and some chick recognized me, and she had a angry sticker on her water, like an old one. Like I haven't seen that one in a long time. It was pretty funny. Okay. Michael Anderson. Any more thoughts about coming to Sunshine? I want to grab you as I fall off the lift. I'm not coming now because of you and just you. Like, there you go. Yeah. You brought that one onto yourself. Oh, let's see. Dustin Buck from the Angry Snowboarder VIP. Any feedback on full bag snowboards out of Canada? Yeah, the guy's a pain in the ass to work with, so I don't really give a shit about him. And that's all you need to know. I probably will never ride one because the guy was so fucking hard to work with. And if he's hard to work with me, and all I was asking, like I straight up said, I was like, all you have to do is ship the boards here, put a return shipping label, and I will send them back. You get a review, you get a link to your product. It's good hype. You're probably going to get put in front of a new audience that didn't know anything about you. And he made it out like it was this big thing. The dude literally cares more about carving skateboards than he does snowboarding. Snowboarding is an afterthought. So fuck him. I don't care. So yeah. Okay. C4 Rec. Is there such thing as a wrong way to install bindings on a board? I'm not sure about the bent metal binding works disc orientation. Do I line up the disc hole patterns parallel or perpendicular to the board? Well, first off, there is one way to mount your bindings wrong on a board. Ratchets in. You never want ratchets in. Don't ever do that. But going perpendicular or parallel to it, the big thing is you want to make sure that you center the binding on the board so that you have equal amounts toe to heel. Like you don't want to have more heel and you don't want to have more toe. So sometimes you can just have having it run parallel, mount it up. It's fine. Sometimes you got to turn it perpendicular and move it back or forward to line it up. It's one of those things like before you screw it on, just put the binding on there and see like if the discs are parallel, if that, you line it up with the holes, make sure it's lined up. If it's lined up and it looks like it's fine, put the screws on, put your boot in there and see if it's equal toe and heel, you're fine. And if it's not, turn it perpendicular, slide it forward or backwards, kind of see if you need to, where you need to be to line it up. That's kind of all the advice I can give about that. Okay. Tenchi Hayashi, did you hear about Alpine Meadows today? Sad. I haven't heard anything about Alpine Meadows. Um, I've been kind of busy doing some other stuff. Fill me in the chat and let me see what's going on, or put a link or something to an article, and I'll click on it and see what's good. Okay, what else we got going on here? Jonah Herb. Hey, what is your opinion on binding angles? I ride both feet pretty positive, plus 30, plus 45. Am I an idiot ruining the sport? I'm trying to figure out why your back foot is 45 degrees. Like your front is 30 and your back is 45. That makes no sense. Hopefully your front is 45 and your back is 30. Binding angles are personal preference. Like they different stances have different things. Like me, I always ride the same stance on everything, so it's just consistent. Plus just the way my anatomy is after 23 consecutive seasons, my body just naturally goes into that duck stance. Like whenever I change it, my hip flexors get thrown out of whack and stuff. So yeah. Uh, let's see. Okay. Bottled in cork, was she hot? Referring to the chick that recognized me at 1:30 in the morning. She was a little intoxicated. She butchered my name 3 times. She kept telling me that she actually knew me, which she doesn't, but she works at the axe throwing place, I believe, because I think that was what her work uniform is. I don't know. People being drunk working in an axe throwing place, kind of questionable. I don't know. Might go down there and look at her in the daylight, see what she looks like. Probably an gargoyle, though. Kevin Chow. Hey, Averin, I'm 139 pounds in a size 8 boot, currently riding a Libtech box knife 145 narrow on the East Coast. Was this a good choice? Yeah, I think that's a solid choice. I mean, you could have even gone up to a bigger size, but unless you're using it for just a lot of park use, which, I mean, the East Coast, the mountains are so small. I think you're solid. I think you're good. So, yeah. Grant Christopher rode my Mercury in waist deep powder last week and sunk like a rock. I know it's supposed to be capable of powder riding though, so I feel like it's me and not the board. Any tips? Uh, Set your stance back so you can slam it back so you got more nose than tail. Also, make sure you're bending your knees, sucking it up, pulling that nose up, trying to sink the tail, get your momentum going. It if you don't know how to ride POW, it's just gonna fucking crush you. Because just remember, every snowboard except for that weird one from Japan is a powder snowboard, and I'm talking that one that had the elevated, it looked like Batman's snowboard. Yeah, that thing. Okay, Bart McDowell, what type of rider is the Super DOA for versus the DOA? So the DOA is like park board, some of the like 50% park, 50% all mountain, or somewhere in there like 60, 70, 80% park, hitting jumps, hitting jibs, like a well-balanced park board that they can kind of go ride the whole mountain. The Super DOA, I think, is mislabeled. Like it shouldn't be called the Super DOA. It's a completely different board. That is a hard charging, fast and aggressive ripping board for just carving groomers, popping off things as fast as possible, and really just pushing it to the limit and going as hard as you can. So, I mean, if you're like a heavier guy or someone that wants to go really fast and rip it, that's the Super DOA. If you're a little more laid back, you want to play around, or you want like a twin that can ride the whole mountain, that's the regular DOA. Let's see. Okay. DJ Footfoot. Hey, my son and I are in town on our first Western trip together. What would be a good time to leave Denver to get first chair at A Basin tomorrow? 5 a.m. Oh my God. Yeah. Maybe 6 at the latest. Uh, so it's been snowing heavy and wet. I think eastbound 70 was closed. Make sure you check cotrip.org. Check all that. But sooner you can get there, the better. It's not as busy as it used to be with them being off the Epic Pass, but it people are going to come out of the woodwork because we got snow this week. So yeah. Okay. Trading Park, Super Pig versus Super DOA, are they basically the same? No. Flex patterns are so different. Super Pig's way more playful than the Super DOA. Like, other than having super in the name, they have nothing in common at all. Like, they ride just entirely different. Okay. Douglas Steppen. Hey, Everett, is there any way to alleviate outer toe pain in a boot? Heat mold the liner, slit the liner, grind down your footbed so it's a little canted so it lowers the foot down. Uh, or maybe your foot needs to be elevated. Maybe you need to make like a bridge or a pressure bridge where it's you cut some foam and put it on the outside of the liner so it's between the liner and the shell where it's uh, taking the pressure right off that toe so it brings it back down to like the side of the knuckle and then past the little toe. It's kind of one of those things like if I'm not looking at it, I can't really give you a general idea. I know there is some tips in our boot fitting 101 playlist, so you can always check that out. Let's see. Caravan, best aboard for a size 12 foot, 200-pound pow day tree slashing with a focus on maneuverability. Orca, Super Pig, Marhar Lumberjack, Libtech short, wide, short, fat, whatever the fuck they call that thing. Those would be four that I would really look into. Let's see. Camden Goozy, how's the conditions at the basin? Hoping to ride there this week. So I was up there Tuesday. I went up Tuesday, Monday night. They got a lot of high winds, so it blew all the snow up and over into the backside. They kept the backside closed. Everything was very wind loaded. It was like that chalk snow. A lot of stuff was icy. I know that we got snow today, so things could be a little different in there. It was coming down wet and heavy today, so it'll probably be a little lighter up there just due to the elevation. My guess is we got about 4 inches today, so that can really reset everything. Let's see. Okay, Jack Ripper. Got a kick out of what Gilson said on their Facebook post I tagged you and couldn't believe they didn't ask boot or weight when recommending a board. Yeah, well, Gilson's a bunch of fucking morons. Michael Anderson with the $15 super chat. Thanks for that. Ed Jen, any thoughts about the Lib Dynamo? Kevin really liked it. I did not get a chance to. I don't think I reviewed that. I don't think I got a chance to get on that one. I'm trying to remember, but I know it's like, or maybe I did ride that. I don't know. I rode so much shit. I don't think I rode that one though, but Kevin liked it. He said it was actually fairly nimble for how wide it was. It was playful where it counted. Said it, God, what board did he compare it to? I want to say Titty Fish, but that's completely wrong. Uh, let's see what else we got going here. Snowbirdie, what do you think about not downsizing volume shifted boards like the Warpig? I think you're going to have a fucking miserable ass time. I think it's going to be one of those things like if you do that, you're going to be like, I should have downsized. Like it's going to be a lot stiffer, a lot more aggressive, harder to get edge to edge. It's just going to work you a lot more. Uh, Avery Cordova, what boards would you recommend? I'm 165 pounds, 5'9", with a 10.5 boot. I ride a Never Summer Prototype 2 at the moment. You also ride Powderhorn. So 3 boards that I would look at. Captain Mercury, Yes Typo, Jones Mountain Twin. 3 boards, all mountain, versatile. You can do anything with it. Get away from that Prototype 2. That camber profile will be a lot different. Plus, you guys get a little more ice out there on the western side, just with your elevation and the way that mountain sits. I think the Jones Mountain Twin would actually have better edge hold. Okay. Let's see. Marco Purchase with the $25 super chat. In Utah, which is better, Powwow versus Snow Basin? So they both have their pros and cons, and I've had amazing days at both of them. I would probably push more towards Powwow because they limit ticket sales. So make sure you buy your tickets ahead of time before you get there. Plus, you got 4 cats at $25 a lap to go do cat laps on it. So you're going to get powder that hasn't been as tracked out. You got cat lap options as well. Snow Basin, though, if you get there early and you can take that little Chondola tram to the top. I got second tram one time up there and went right down the face. It was like, I think they reported, I think like 7 or 8 inches, but it was like 16 plus up there, and I threw such a huge spray. It was like hitting the tram, and that thing. So it was amazing. I like the terrain a little bit more at Snow Basin. It's a little more rolly, and I feel like there's more stuff to pop off of. But and Palma just seems to be like a little more low angle. All right. Avery Cordova with a super chat. Thanks. Can't believe you remember me. Yeah, the curse of a fucking photographic memory. Don't ever get one, guys. Uh oh, so Panaton, did you get to ride Copper today? How were the conditions? I did. I went to Copper. Snow was heavy and sticky. It was like it had a lot of moisture in it. So there's also a lot of wind. I went up to the top. Everything up top was kind of wind scoured while I was there. Everything mid mountain, it wasn't exactly hero snow. It was like kind of a little crunchy from that moisture. It was like almost icy and granular. Also, was starting to get crowded with the weekend holiday. Let's see. Uh, Fat Man Scoot. I'm riding 2 days in Colorado. Use my icon. Should I split it 1 day at A Basin and one at Copper, or do both days at one resort? Check the snow reports. If you're staying in Summit County, it's really easy to get to either resort. So, I mean, depending where you're staying, you're never more than like 10 to 20 minutes away from them. Always check the snow reports. And also, if you get in early enough the day before you go ride, look at what direction the wind is blowing. So if it's blowing north to south, A Basin will be better than Copper. But if it's blowing like east to west, uh, Copper will be more filled in on the east side and in the trees. So you got to kind of take into consideration like how the snow is coming in and how it's blowing. And then if there's no snow and it's just like nothing new has happened and you just want to go ride park and rip groomers, Copper for sure. Maxime Boucher, have you ever heard of Omega board brand from Quebec? I have not. All right. Stephen Barons, the man that will throw a ski off the chairlift if the lifty hands it to him and tells him to take it to the top, asks. Kev says he likes flow bindings. What's your opinion? I've used flows. I mean, they have their place. I like the way the power triangle between the base, the cable, the high back, and everything, like how the power transformation is. I've never been able to 100% dial them in the way I would like, but I think they do make a good product. If it fits your needs and it's like something you're looking for, good option. Uh, Patrick Bateman, thoughts on Nick Fuentes. I have no clue who the fuck that is, but it's okay. Shouldn't you be like returning some videotapes uptown or something? I don't know. Like, what does Patrick Bateman do in his off time? Okay. The MX Inside. Hey man, any chance of getting on the Deep Thinker? If not, a 2020 or earlier, perhaps for 2021. Cheers. Probably not going to happen for 2020. Maybe 2021. Burton's like in this weird phase where I can't grab stuff from the reps, and because we just don't have them here. They all moved to like Utah, and the one guy we have, he never really has a demo fleet, so I really wouldn't think that's going to happen. So yeah. Let's see what else we got going on here. Whew. Adam Cole, Avalanche backpacks, gas or electric, air travel down it. I know jack shit, dude. Literally the worst guy. Not even going to try to talk about it. Not even going to engage it. I am so not a backcountry guy. That is just an aspect of snowboarding that I respect, but I will never get into. Not the guy to do it. Better person to ask maybe on Instagram would be my friend Anthony Apposito. He works for North Face, but he's a backcountry guide. So I think it's like at AJ Apposito or something, but you could look him up and maybe slide into his DMs and ask him. S2000 guy with the super chat. Thanks for shredding with me and my buddies Monday at Copper. We had a sick time. They've been using the term throat punch way too much since. Well, I'm glad that I could instill the words throat punch just so everyone knows. I did meet up with Nick at Copper. So I do meet up with you guys from time to time, and he did see me snowboard really badly. So, he can vouch that I don't know how to snowboard. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Jesus. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Okay. I think we're kind of caught up on questions there. Okay. Got Angry Snowboarder VIP question from Constantine. I'm going to the Alps next weekend for 7 days. I'm pretty fit, but still, I would like to know your opinion on maybe hacks or tips on body conditioning, maximizing ride hours, like stretch, foam roller, obviously, but maybe secret hacks like jumping in the hot tub 11 times while having your legs smeared in outdated Nutella or something. Nutella is fucking gross. It's fucking gross. I don't understand why everyone has a hard on for Nutella. I fucking hate that shit. It's the worst. So typically what I do, because I ride all the time, is 4 hours max, six if the snow is really good. And you don't really have to push it the whole time. Make sure you're always hydrated. If you're really worried about it, you can get like those potassium supplements, so that'll help fight leg fatigue and cramping and whatnot. So that's it. As far as conditioning goes, like, I mean, I went snowboarding for a couple hours today, then I went to the gym and I biked about 10 miles, and then I did some workouts and stuff so I can just like progressively keep my muscles going. But stretch in the morning, stretch when you're in the lift line, stretch after riding, hit the hot tub if you can, stretch when you get out of the hot tub. Make sure you take a shower, wash off all those nasty chemicals. Once again, stretch. Make sure to try to not eat anything that's like really salty or processed, because that shit, because after riding, you've depleted like a lot of stuff in your body, and that salt just really isn't the best thing for you as well. So, yeah, hopefully that answers that. Bottled and cork with the $2 super chat. Tell us where the bad Nutella man touched you. He didn't touch me. But do you ever realize that Nutella just looks like liquid diarrhea in a jar? It's like Hershey squirts like into a fucking jar. Hazelnut is disgusting. Okay. Brett Copeland, boarding 15 years in New York, took three years off for a knee injury, tried last season and couldn't even turn. Got the new custom flying V and loving it, but I grew up with full camber. Any advice? Thank you for keeping it real. You like the flying V? I've got a review of that thing coming out, and that board is awful. It's got too much fucking. It's like burnt. Like that thing is just like next level. Really in New York where it's icy. I mean, granted, coming from a knee injury, it makes sense. Like reverse camber, whenever I've injured my knee, like the first board I always gravitate to is like an Arbor Westmark rocker. That board's so much easier to ride while I recondition my knee and everything to get it used to it. So, um, you know, that's just makes sense. But I mean, eventually, like that board will be a stepping stone for you if you get more serious with your snowboarding. So, yeah, let's see. Matthew Cahill, throat punch is the best term ever. When you say, I'll throat punch you to someone, their faces are always great. This is true. Like, if you threaten to throat punch someone, they're just like, what? Ah! Like, I will throat punch you. It's just like when someone's sitting around in the way doing anything and be like, you having fun over there, thumb jacking your fart box? Why don't you get the fuck out of my way? They're always like, thumb jack my fart box. And like, you can see like the hamster's on the wheel and it's starting to move. And then they realize you're talking about sticking their thumb up their ass because they're in the way. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, what else we got going on here? I think we're caught up on those questions. Uh Mexican Boucher, what's the worst? Flying V or skate banana? Flying V is actually worse than the skate banana. At least on the custom. It just doesn't have as much edge grip as the skate banana. So like the skate banana, you can actually like get it to hold on. And you know, so basically like you got more edge hold for sure on the skate banana just with that magna traction versus the custom B. Oh God, we got a Stephen Barron's question. Waxed my board today and got it all wrong. How do I get this shit off? Take the iron, heat it back up, run it over the base, and while the wax is still hot, scrape it. Okay. Okay, Jake Morris. What are other options rather than hot waxing your board? I've heard you speak on this a couple times, but I'm unsure of other options. So there's like the DPS Phantom stuff. There's Snow Coat, which I have some Snow Coat, and tomorrow I'm applying Snow Coat to 3 boards, and I'm going to do some tests with it to see how long it lasts. You could always do rub-on wax. There's Race Paste, which lasts like about a lap or two. If it's the spring, Dawn dish detergent. You get to the top, you squirt a little on your base, you ride through all that water and moisture and slushy snow, and you get a trail of bubbles following you. Okay. Sorry, my nose is running. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold here. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Jimmy McElroy, best detergent to use for washing snowboard jacket and pants. Get the Nick Wax stuff, especially because it's treated with the waterproofing conditioner. Follow the directions on it and make sure you air dry your stuff. Like hang it to dry. Don't tumble dry it. Let it air dry in there and just make sure you follow the directions on the Nick Wax. That's what I use for my stuff. Damien Kyle, I want to see some angry reviews of crew of shapes. Oh, that makes two of us. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. God, you guys are all hung up on Buckhouse and throat punching right now. Let's see. Why the hell's there a car alarm going off? Ugh. Let's see. Wow, you guys. Oh, man. I'm really worried about some of you guys and your sexual harassment of Kevin. He's kind of scared. He's a very sensitive man. Joshua Selesky, thoughts on Mervin Construction, Dynamo or BRD? So there's things I don't like about Mervin. I think they use a little too much epoxy. Their boards tend to be a little bit heavier, a little more damp. The tucked edges thing, I really do not like tucked edges. That just creates four possible impact points to pull the edge out. I've seen it happen. Yeah, cool. If you run straight into something, it's easier to fix. But if you hit like the corner right where that edge is tucked in, it can do it. The other thing is their finishes always look like shit on their bases when they come out of the factory. Like they do, like seriously, if you're buying a Mervin, like fucking take it to a tune shop right away. $2 super chat from Bottle and Cork. Arthur Longo, rest in peace, L Stacker. Fuck, L Stacker. My life has gotten so much better without that kid being a fan. Epic Remedy, how do we handle posers? Do not engage them. Do not acknowledge them. Call them out for their, well, actually, I guess you kind of have to engage them if you're calling them out for their bullshit. Like, there's posers in everything. That's just how it's going to be. And like, it doesn't matter how cool you are or who you are. Someone's going to think you're a poser. Like, if you guys ever go to easylounging.com, I strongly suggest checking out pages 35 through 38 of the 2021 thread of product previews. They go on a whole tangent about stuff that I never said and how like all this shit. It's the funniest fucking shit. Like a whole bunch of guys that ride 10 days a year, like they're like fucking bitching and moaning about shit like they fucking matter. Moved over a $250,000 worth of product last year for snowboarding and probably answered more questions than they ever will. Fuck them. You'll never, doesn't matter who you are in this world. You're always going to be a poser to someone. Okay. Churning Park. I've heard that on centered basis, you should wax every 4 to 5 days. Riding. I've gone 3 times this year and I'm going this weekend and don't know if I should wax my board after I get it back for the week. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. TSBO, have you rode the 2020 Rome Blur? No, because it didn't change. So you can check the old Rome Blur review. It's in the Snowboard review playlist. Okay. Casey Lassord, what are your thoughts on the Slush Slasher? Seems relatively inexpensive and a real fun board. It is a real fun board. It's a really great bang for the buck. It's the original party board, like what we've got going on in this generation of snowboarding. That board rips a carve. You can fuck around in the park. Yeah, you don't have a tail, so you don't have a lot of pop off the back foot, off the tail. It's more off your back foot and shit. Board's super blast. It's a super blast. Like if you're looking for a fuck around little board for like low angle pows zipping through trees or slash and slush, there you go. Brandon Henneman, would you rather ride a Jones Twin in park or a GNU Headspace? I'd probably go with the Headspace. It's a little bit softer for my style of riding, although I've been riding Peace Park a lot, so maybe the Twin would be a little bit better. Yeah, so there's it kind of depends on the day, I guess. Let's see what we got here. Oh, wow. Let's see. We got a VIP question from Rob Ashton. Wondering what to add to the quiver that doesn't overlap too much. I ride a Super Pig 151 and a Yes Pick Your Line 159 at present with Ride Rodeo and Now Pilots. Mostly ride Japan, but do trips to New Zealand and Colorado. Was wondering if a party board like the K2 Party Planner or a Jones Mind Expander might complement the current boards. Living in Singapore, I don't get much of a chance to demo, so it's buy then try at the moment. Cheers. Um, you kind of got things. You kind of have a party board with the Super Pig right there, so I don't think you necessarily need to go with that. And you got to pick your line for kind of all mountain use. I'd probably go with a mind expander and just have a specific like POW board, and that's what that would be. So, okay. Going along with that, we're going to follow it up from Adam Cowell. Don't judge me. English isn't my first language. Well, you speak it or type it better than most people that are American or British, mainly Americans though. Why are party boards called party boards? Party boards bring out the party in everyone. You can just rip around the mountain, turning everything into something fun. There's a little snow curb where the cat was on the side of the trail, and there's like a bank. You can ollie up and jib on it and shit like that. Rip a hard carve, slash some slush, go after some pow. It's just a style of boarding where you can just be like fast and loose on it. And that's why it's called a party board. All right. Okay. Oh, Detelijar. Hey guys, what's up? I love the fact that some of you people will make parody accounts. It's fucking weird. Let's see. Okay. Anthony Van, do you have a board that is kind of like the original Mora spoon? I'm talking when Mora wasn't K2. I remember that board being awesome to spin on. So the spoon, oh, I'm thinking of the lunch tray. But the spoon had those like upkick tips in it, I think. If I remember correctly, there's like a slight bevel in there. You might like the Burton Process Kilroy 3D for that. Maybe something from Battalion, like say the Boss or the Evil Twin. Probably the Boss though, or the Global Warmer if you want to go really, really soft. Marhar does something called their sideways rocker in their boards, and there's the oh fuck, what is it? It's the flat to rocker park board. Shit, I can't think of it right now. Yeah. Okay. Got one here from Torrent Harris. Do you ever struggle to get motivated to ride? Yes. Today was a struggle, but my FOMO kicked in and I went and rode and I was disappointed. Even though a bad day on the mountain is still better than a good day in the office. No, the big thing, like I after like 100+ days, I really start to be like, oh God, I got to go do this. So like my struggle is not like everyone else's struggle. It's like I have to go test product, and everyone's like, oh, poor Avran, got to go fucking review product. Yeah, it's a fucking job, dude. It's a chore. It's a chore to ride 100+ boards a year. And what my struggles are, but I try to work through it. I find that like if it's gonna be a long season, if I can take like a 2 or 3 day break, get out of town, maybe not shred, or if I do get out of town to shred, go someplace different, ride with people. It kind of depends on the person and this consequences and stuff. I'm gonna grab something to blow my nose because it's really running. Sorry about that. My nose is severely running and it's not good. Probably a little worn down. Okay. Mike Garcia hitting up Powderhorn on Sunday. I love that mountain. That mountain, I want to go hit it on a powder day so bad. Like if you go there when you're facing the mountain, go far right to the old single chair, especially if they got snow. It's a kick. It's like 18.5 minutes to get to the top or something obscene like that. But when you're going up, like the terrain is super steep and it like pillows up. You can ride almost every trail on that resort in an hour if you really go Mach 10 and it's not crowded. But Powderhorn, it's quaint. It's like a little mom and pop. You wouldn't expect it. It's not crowded. Like it was funny when I was there. The one day I wrote it, they apologized to me at the ticket window because there was a school group there, and they're like, "It's going to be a little crowded and busy." I didn't wait in line all day. Uh, huh. Will Graham with the super chat. Averin, how did you get most of your concussions? Getting too gnarly for my own good. Um, I well, depends. It depends what age, Averin, you're talking about. If you're like talking 10 and under, uh, hit in the head with a baseball bat by a 12-year-old when I was 3.5. Brother pushed me headfirst into a tree when I was running from him. Uh, fell off a bike. Brother hit me in the head. Let's see. If you're talking like 10 to 20, skateboarding, snowboarding, soccer, fist fight, stick to the head, fell into a creek bed head first. A lot of them though have been snowboarding for the most part. So yeah. $10 super chat from Bottle and Cork. Get Averin to Mammoth in June to ride with me fund. Also, rest in peace, L Stacker. So for anyone that doesn't understand this RIP L Stacker, there's a guy named L Stacker Adventures on YouTube, and he's got to be a fucking kook. But he created more work than anything. He would leave like these bullshit comments on every video, and just half of them got flagged for spam. So I'd have to go check the spam box to see if it, because sometimes real questions get flagged. And he was creating like about an extra 2 hours of work a week for me because he was commenting on so much shit, just leaving stupid shit, and it kept popping up. And then he left a dumb comment the one day, and I think I said something like, I was like, in response, that was like, are you ever going to put a real comment, or are you just fucking brain dead? And he's like, I support you, and I'm a fan, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm going to unsubscribe. And my only response was, bye, Felicia. And everyone kind of has jumped on the train. So we might make like a hashtag RIP L Stacker sticker as a joke. And I'll put that in the sticker club tier on Angry Snowboarder VIP. But yeah, basically, like if you missed last Friday's live stream where I went off on a 25-minute tangent on Buckhouse and posers and shit like that, that stands true. Like if I don't care if you unsubscribe, it doesn't affect me in the slightest. Like I'm not going to have like this fan base of fucking nincompoop that have no modicum of decency and don't contribute anything to like what I'm doing, claiming that they're like some super fan. Like I just don't care. They can fucking disappear. So yeah. All right. Next question from Hunter Gross. I'm a big bastard, 6'2", 275 pounds, size 13 to 14 boot. I'm more of an all mountain board kind of guy. What board and binding setup would you recommend? I like the Jones Mountain Twin from your review, but I don't know. Mountain Twin would be really solid, and you can match that up with either the Mercury or Apollo binding, depending on how stiff you want to go from Jones, and do a full Jones setup. And that would be a really, really solid one. I mean, if you like the looks of that Jones, I know they make it in a wide, they make it in a size that'll fit you, go for it. If you want some other binding recommendations, I'd say check out the Rome DOD or Katana, K2 Formula, Ride Rodeo, Union Atlas. So hopefully that'll get you. Looks like we're an hour in, guys. We got 112 people in here. So let's let this party fucking continue. Cy Voigt, stoked to be getting some snow finally on the East Coast. God, dude, you guys, it was looking brutal there. Like my mom said it was in the high 60s this week at one point. Like I've never saw that when I lived there for the 22 years that I lived there, like, or 21 years or whatever it was that I lived there. That's fucking gnarly. Okay. Ratty Panther, mittens or glove? Trigger mitts. Here's the reason why. If you have a trigger mitt, people see that there's this finger. So if you do this to someone, they know you're flipping them off. Whereas with a mitt, and you do this, they don't know. So I'm a huge trigger mitt fan. Plus, you can always poke people in the chest. And if you're not exactly going to throat punch someone, you can eye gouge them with that finger, just right in the eye, just boom. And then they're blind. Then you throat punch them. It's the twofer. They don't know it's coming. You gouge them in the eye, then they grab it. Then that throat is exposed, and then you punch them. So, yeah, trigger mitts. Okay. Anthony Van, spot on about the Moro spoon. I'm rocking the 2019 Lumberjack, and spinning on that is great. Anyways, when is the goggle reviews coming? So for anyone that doesn't know, I bought $200 worth of shitty Amazon goggles, a high-powered laser, and I got a bunch of different lenses from a reputable snowboard brands. And I'm going to show you guys both ways with the laser through the lens and out the lens, what kind of distortion shows up with them. And believe me, like some of these goggles are I'm also going to show you how cheaply that UV 400 protection coat that they claim works comes off. I'm going to basically dismantle all these shitty goggles so that you guys can understand. I'm also going to cut them completely in half and show you all the bubbles in the injection mold process and show you what their lenses look like when you cut them in half. So I don't know if that's going to get done tomorrow. I got a bunch of projects I'm trying to film, and I got to do a bunch of other stuff, but it's on the to-do list, so that should be coming. Okay. Didier MG, hey, I'm looking for a board that will feel like a Tech 9 reinforcer. It was a 10 centimeter flat rocker, pretty soft and jib friendly, but a little wider, so it was fun on jumps also. Any ideas, please? Check out the K2 Worldwide Weapon wide. The Enforcer and the Reinforcer was actually a really fun board when it came out. I actually really like that board from Tech 9, and on angrysnowboarder.com, there's actually a review of it. I would say probably the closest thing you could find to that would be the Worldwide Weapon rocker, or maybe a Rome gangplank. Okay. Let's see. This is a public service announcement from our guy, S2000 guy. Anyone who wants a short fatty, don't get discouraged when it doesn't turn quickly the first 2 days. Day 3 will be awesome. He was struggling on last year's party platter. Gave him a few tips, made a couple laps with him. He was riding like a champ afterwards. Matthew Smith, is running over a fat skier kid a crime? Well, that depends if the court recognizes them as a human. If they don't, it's not a crime. They're an inanimate object. They're obsolete. But if they get recognized as a human, it could be considered a hate crime. Ooh, this is a good question from Grant Christopher. How would you suggest that someone who grew up without snow for 25 years go from being someone who snowboards to becoming a snowboarder? If you got to ask, I don't know if you're really ready for that, but it's support the culture, support snowboarding, go snowboard, do what you can. Doesn't matter if you ride 1 day a year or 100 days a year. Always support snowboarding. Don't bitch and moan if you pay full price for something. Understand that not everyone's circumstances are going to be the same for riding. Watch snowboard videos, support real snowboard companies, support your favorite riders, whether that's just following them and liking their stuff on Instagram or buying their pro models if they make stuff, kind of just do it all. Let's see. Okay, where are we? I think we're caught up on those questions. Mike Garcia, I bought both the Capita Simulator and the Super DOA. I find myself riding the Simulator more than the Super DOA. I'd ride the Simulator more than the Super DOA. The Super DOA has its place out there, but I just putting that DOA name on it I get it. It was a move to sell that board, but that board is it's nowhere near a DOA. It's nowhere near a simulator, because the simulator is essentially just an asymmetrical DOA, although I feel that it, because of the asymmetrical side, kind of flexes a little different when you go through carves and whatnot. But yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, I don't blame you. Good thing is you probably wouldn't have a problem reselling that Super DOA. Brandon Heidemann, what was the crappiest snowboard you have ever demoed? I got a board from a company called Why Me that literally looked like it was finished with a belt, with like a wood chipper. That base was so furry and so sticky. I got to the top of the mountain and went to go, and it just went, and it was steep. It was probably like a 32-ish pitch, and it just went like this. It went and stopped, and I just had to keep squeaking it all the way down the hill. Yeah, that was probably the worst thing I've ever fucking ridden in terms of that. Otherwise, that uh, what the fuck is it? The Pocket Rocket from that Kevin rode in the last Kevin Carve It. I can't even think of the company. The Soul Man Pocket Rocket. That board was a fucking turd. Let's see. Will hey everyone, good to hear you got on the 9-Decker Tracer. Looking forward to that review dropping. It will be dropping tomorrow early on Angry Snowboarder VIP in the written format for anyone. So if you're not a member of Angry Snowboarder VIP, you want to support what we do, you could always swing over there and check it out. We do drop reviews early over there, and I believe Will S is a VIP member. So there's that. Otherwise, the video review should drop next week. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Let's see. Parker Hulkenrud, similar board to the Twin Pig. So you're looking for like a wider cambered twin. I think that honestly, like the one board that comes to mind is the Marhar Lumberjack X. I think that's like probably the closest thing to the Twin Pig in terms of volume shifted camber. Like that really stands out as being like the closest. Bottled and cork. I rode my anti-gravity today and did not miss my Orca at all. Well, then go sell your Orca. Someone will buy it. Those things still have high resale value. But the anti-gravity is an underrated gem. I think I need to do like a top 5 like underrated boards that I need to hype more or something. So all right. Jake Morris. Pray for us in Washington. Those idiots on I-90 and Route 2 keep getting the passes closed down, driving rear-wheel drive cars while chugging Fireball. Hopefully, we'll make it to Snoqualmie. Good luck, man. Whew. That drive out of Seattle to Snoqualmie, just good luck, man. Like, you got snow, you do it. I'd say fuck it. Just go to Baker. Just drive north. Fuck it. Don't even go to Baker. Just keep driving north till you hit Canada and go to Grouse or Seymour or Cypress or something like that. Fuck it. Just don't. Never understood how Washington, like, it's a snowy state. Man, it's not really a snowy state. There's like areas with snow, but how many people drive rear wheel drives with bald tires and they try to think they can just make it to the fucking mountains? Kirill Podleski. Hi, Avern. Why is the Nitro Magnum a beginner board in your opinion? It's a 7 stiffness, they say. The only reason it's a 7 stiffness is because it's so fucking wide and big. It's a beginner board for a big-footed, heavy rider. That's all it is. Those numbers that companies give you are arbitrary. There's like no real way to define them. So they kind of just guesstimate and be like, oh, we'll just put they go off the weight range and stuff like that. But it's not a real thing at all. So yeah. All right. Mike Garcia, I bought the Capita Navigator based on your review, and I think that is amazing and pouchy. Dude, that board is super phenomenal. Fuck, dude, there's so many good boards. Like right now, we live in a time where it's hard for companies to actually build a shit board. So like we have all these great boards, and then I just sort of let them slip by, and I always feel bad about that. Let's see. Oh, what else we got going on here? Nathan Sue, how does the ride Twin Pig float? Like a snowboard? I mean, it's a twin park board. It's a little wider, so you got more surface area. It's cam rocker. If you know how to ride POW, it'll probably float. If you don't, you're probably going to be a little miserable. It's not like a true powder board, but it'll float just like any other snowboard. Frank 0020, where is the Kelvinator? I think he's playing with a short-haired wiener. What time is it? He's still at work, actually, I think. I think he's working till like 9 or 9:30 tonight. So, yeah. Let's see. Jeff DeMoose 776. Can Kevin carve the Rosnell Sawblade? I carved the Rosnell Sawblade. For such a soft, like, entry parkish board, you can actually carve on it if you really want to. It's not a bad thing. We do have the new podcast coming out on Monday, and in the first segment of the podcast, like the audio podcast at least, will be out on Monday. Kevin and I actually discuss where we're going with Can Kevin Carve It. So if you're looking for an update on that, I highly recommend tuning in to angrysnowboarder.com and listening to it on Podbean. Still trying to figure out how to get this thing on iTunes. Like for some reason, it's just not recognizing it the way it should. And I've emailed them and done everything I can on my end. I think I might have to actually switch providers of the podcast and go back to SoundCloud so that it'll upload. So I'm going to try to toy around with that on Monday. Okay. Matthew McIsaac, career shapes, your thoughts. Haven't ridden them. I like the concept of the brand. I like what they're doing. I see a lot of people ripping them. I do know that they tend to be a little stiffer than what people actually think they are, especially torsionally. I'm going to reach out to the guys over there, and hopefully I can get some this year to actually test out. Uh, Mark I. I'm considering trading my LibTech short fat for an Orca because I think I may use the Orca more. Good or bad idea? Tuning in from the UK. I think you're just gonna realize, like, once you get on the Orca, you're gonna be like, "Huh, this kind of overlaps it." Like, you'll be like, it's not really gonna feel any different." Personally, I just keep that short fat and just keep riding it. So, yeah. Oh, we got a statement here from creepy superfan Alan Russell. Averin, I'm sure you saw the proto Nate from Marhar built up today. Can we set up a GoFundMe for the first guy to impale someone riding Switch? I think he's dropping it off to me next week, actually. He's coming out to visit his sister in Vale, and we were talking about him just bringing boards, and I was going to take him. But I know that that prototype with the blunt nose and the shark bite tail is coming to me at some point. So uh, fuck it. I'll ride it switch into Buckhouse. Or is he banned from every resort now? Well, Max, should I part ways with the Never Summer Prototype 2 to get a different board that's more focused? I think there's so many better boards than that deck. Like, I think that board is just hyped up more than it is. It rides like crap. It's hooky as shit right between the feet. Because, like, where that Vario side cut sits right where the camber comes down. I think you could do so much better. There's so many different boards out there. So, yeah. Uh, Cameron Geppert, are there any boards Kevin likes that you think are shit or vice versa? Oh my God. Yeah. We've, old podcast like from 3 years ago, we went into this. I think it's like a topic we need to go back to, maybe not this upcoming podcast because it's already done, but the next one that we do. So yeah. Uh, Super chat from Snowboarding. What happened to L Stacker? He died. So yeah. Uh, let's see what else we got going on here. Funk Farmer. I owned a Never Summer. I sold said Never Summer. Good for you, bud. Good for you. Joshua Soliski, why did you switch to Rome binding? So the biggest issue was K2 put canting in all their bindings, and not like a little bit. Like if it had been 1 degree, 1.5, maybe even 2 degrees, I probably would have been okay. But they went 3 degrees. So I was feeling knock kneed in the binding, and I camp my footbeds inside my boots just a little bit to compensate for my body's anatomy. So suddenly I went from being like more natural in my stance to being like fully knock kneed, like my knees hitting each other. And so I did that. And then when I was testing bindings last year, I was looking at some Solomons and I was like, okay, these would be comparable to my K2's unibody construction. Then I got on those black labels and I was like, you know, and I kind of had this like epiphany moment. I realized like there's the way I want to ride, but injuries have taken their toll so much that if I want to keep snowboarding, I have to change how I'm going to ride. And so I decided that I was like, I'm going to switch my bindings. I'm going to go back to Rome because I used to ride Romes forever before I was on K2s. Like I rode like old 390s and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go back. I want a metal heel cup. So I rode that binding and it was phenomenal for the way I wanted it. So I'm doing stiff binding, stiff boot, but I'm going with like a softer, more playful board as my everyday thing. But I'm getting better response. Like as I get older, I'm like more turning, more carving, less catching air, more response out of my bindings and my boots. And that's realistically why I changed. Okay, Fleet Rider with the $10 super chat. Keep putting out great content. Solo trip to Utah next month, Park City, Pomo, or any other mountain in the area that you like. So depending where you're staying, you can get to just about any mountain in there. But go to Pomo, go to Brighton midweek. Don't go on the weekend. Don't fucking waste your time on the weekends going going there. So do Brighton midweek, Pow Mau on the weekend, obviously. Maybe swing up to Snow Basin, and if you want something a little different, north of Pow Mau is Beaver Mountain. I haven't been. It's on my Indie Pass. I plan on going with Alan Russell, our moderator in here. If he doesn't skin Kevin and go to jail, we plan on going up, and they're only open on the weekends. So yeah. So let's see. This is a good one from Brandon Heineman. What is the most angry snowboarder thing you have ever done? There's been plenty of them, but I was thinking of a funny ass story for you guys. And so this goes back to when I lived in Steamboat. And so if you've ever been to Steamboat, they have an old two-seater for the park. And then to the left of it was the NASCAR course. And so it was like the chairlift was here, jump line was to the right, half pipe, and then over past the half pipe was the NASCAR course for the gate bashers. So you could lap the park if no one was there, like not unstrap and just ride up to the line and get on. So there's no one there. It's a pretty mellow day. It's a little overcast. So I come out of the park, ride right through the chairlift line, ride right up to the load line, go sideways, fully strapped in, listening to my music, doing my thing. And all of a sudden I was like, hey, I hear, hey, watch out. This guy comes in through the crowd. He hits a lifty, pings off the lifty, cuts in front of the chair. Like the chair was like 4 feet from me. So he hits the lifty, pancakes him, comes through, sits down right where I would have sat on the chair, and then hits me. And it grabs my toes, pulls my leg under, and it's pulling me. And I'm reaching behind me to grab the fucking chair, and he's pushing me, like literally trying to throw me off the chair. And I pull myself up on, and the chair, like so old, it just didn't stop until we were probably like 10 feet in the air. And I stop and I look at him and I'm just like, what the fuck? Hey, man, I told you I was getting on the chairlift with you. And I was like, why? It's dead today. You could take the chair after me. No, you can't ride alone. I can't ride alone. Oh, no, you're not allowed. No one is. We have to fill the chairs, like no singles. And I was like, really? Where is that a rule or a law or anything? It's the, he goes off on this tangent. Fuck you, you're wrong. So I'm sitting there and he's just, chop, 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 chop. Finally, I look at him and it's like, will you shut the fuck up or I'm going to fucking finish this? Oh, you're going to finish this? What are you going to do? I hate you punk kids. You snowboarders ruin the mountain, blah, 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 blah. I reach over, grab his goggles, pull him right back and snap him onto his face. Smack. His head goes back and he's like, what the fuck? At this point, I turn, pull myself up on the chair, grab the goggles again, pull him down over his neck and just punch him right and square in the fucking face. Wham! He just crumples and I was like, shut the fuck up, asshole. You don't have anything. You fucking hit the lifty. You hit me. You fucking don't know what you're talking about. Shut the goddamn fuck up. You don't know any of the rules. My grandfather founded the National Ski Patrol. Fuck you. Fuck this. Fuck that. Fuck this. Going on. And I'm like, I'm still on my knees just over him, like screaming in his face. The music stops in the park. The NASCAR announcer completely stops. Everything goes silent. The chair's still going up the hill. Everyone that's on the big line is looking at me and I'm screaming at this motherfucker. I don't know if he's out cold. I don't know if he's dead. He's just crumpled. So I turn and I get back and I'm just like, fuck you, asshole. And I'm sitting there. And as we're getting to the top, like the lifty has come out of the shack and he's looking at it and he's like, is everything okay? And I was like, no, this asshole and this guy, call the cops. He fucking hit me. And I was like, he assaulted me first. I fucking finished it. And the chairlift stops about 10 feet from the load ramp, and it's probably a 15-foot drop. And this guy's just being a cocksocket. So I just look at him, and I was like, you're not going to shut up, are you? And the lifty's like, I got to call this in. I was like, you do what you got to do, bud. That's fine. This guy's looking at me. He wouldn't shut up. I look over at him, take his head and just go boom right into the fucking side of the chair. Silent. And Lifty's like, oh God, you assaulted him. Chair starts going, and there's like probably a 2-foot gap right before it's going to hit the load ramp. And I'm like, fuck this. I know I'm going to get in trouble. I know I fucked up. I went a little too far. I jump off the chair. And as I'm going off, I just smack the guy's skis. They go flying in every direction, like full yard sale. His poles shit everywhere. I land perfectly. Lifty's like, hey, man. And I'm like, fuck this. Because I used to, where I lived in Steamboat, you could cut around the base area and cut right up to the road by my house. I fucking just mock it right around, traverse uphill, across the main run in the base area, right across. And as I'm doing this, I look behind me, 4 fucking sleds just like going up to the chairlift. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, get there, fucking unstrap, walk back to the house, change all my clothes. I had to go back to work that day too. Fucking go back to work. And they're like, you're a little late. And I was like, I had to go home and change. And they're like, what happened? And I had to explain it. That's probably literally that. Like, I almost killed this guy on a fucking chairlift because he just, everything he did and just telling me snowboarders have no place on the mountain and fuck you and fuck this. And he was right. Just some old crusty fuck. So yeah, story time with Uncle Averin right there. That's probably literally the most angry snowboarder thing I've done that I can think of. Like right there. Like that, I fucked that dude up. So yeah, I don't know. And I talked to him, one of the guys I worked with Ski Patrol, and I asked him about it. And he's like, the guy was fine. He wanted to press assault charges and shit, but like after the lifty at the bottom vouched that he hit you, there really was nothing that they could do. So yeah, that's kind of the most angry snowboarder thing ever. So yeah. Okay. Any more questions, people? Mark I. Averin is a ski color. I'm just thinning the fucking herds out there for all of us. So don't mind me. I'm just gonna drink a CBD soda, mellow myself out for the night, make my joints feel better. Andrew Watt, Averin, are you getting your hands on the Jones Stratus this season or waiting for the 2021? I have one waiting for me. I will be getting on it probably around the 6th to the 9th of February. I might drop that review a little bit early because there are Stratus out in the world, and I think it would do really well having it out early. I don't really want to sit on that one. So, yeah. Let's see. Let's see what else we got going on here. Adam, R.I.P. L. Stacker Coal. I love that Averin murders skiers on a daily basis, and it's Buckhouse who gets kicked out for speeding. Don't draw attention to yourself. Fly below the radar. Don't be a prolific vlogger so no one ever sees you ride. You can get away with more things. Also, wear colors that let you blend into the fucking crowd. Black is amazing. Okay. Let's see. Epic Remedy. Super Pig for pound tree riding. Fuck yeah. That board's great. Let's see. Let's see. Stephen Barons, want to get out of Summit to go shred? My PO will not let me leave Colorado. Where's the best place to go? So, Stephen, I think you need to go experience Steamboat, midweek, Powder Day, Monarch Mountain. So Steamboat's only an hour and a half from us here in Breckenridge. Monarch's about an hour 45, 2 hours south of us. You should go do that. If you're ever in Grand Junction for whatever reason, go ride Powderhorn. You should definitely check out one of the Aspen Mountains at some point. So, maybe get an Icon Pass next year. Let's see. Where else would I send you? You could always check out Ski Cooper, at least outside Leadville, just for like a midweek off day. If the cat's running, go up and ride the cat too. Cyvoit. Damn, Steamboat Averin is the best Averin. No, Steamboat Averin was probably the worst Averin. I was fat as fuck. I was like 230 think at that time I'd started to lose weight. I think I was like 250 pounds. I was in a really miserable relationship. Yeah, no, yeah, wasn't good. Okay, Two Thumbs Workshop, Angry Boss Man. Are Signal snowboards any good? The Google marketing monster machine keeps force feeding me their ads. Yes, Signal makes some really great boards. They have some stuff. I'm a big fan of the Yup. They brought back the Sierra, which is probably one of my favorite boards that they've ever made. Kevin has been riding the new Wow. Seems to like it. Hasn't wants to take it out in some deeper pow and really test it out though. Uh, Jake Morris, do you like nitro bindings? I got the teams and I like it, but I'm thinking about switching next season to a stiffer set. I actually had the Phantoms from them, and I rode those for a whole season, and I really enjoyed them. The highbacks are a little high, but other than that, I think they're solid. If you have the team and you're liking it, but you want stiffer, I think the Team Carver is the stiffer one that you could always look at. Let's see. Matthew McIsaac. Solomon First Call never got much play, but I think that board rips and it's cheap. So the First Call is essentially the Powder Snake, renamed and reshaped, and the Powder Snake was phenomenal. So there's that. Let's see. Well, Max, does the DOA or even the Super DOA live up to the hype? I don't want to fall for another hype trap like the PT2. Laughing my ass off. So I rode the new DOA, and we've got that review out, and you can check that out for yourself. But like, I feel I've been harsh on it the last few years. It's better than I remember. The Super DOA, it's a very specific board for a very specific type of rider, and so if that's what you're looking for, yes, I think it fits up. But you could also do like an Ultra Twin from Jones or an Ultra Flagship. You know, there's like other boards out there that are comparable as well. I think Jeff Demus 776. What is your favorite shape rail to hit? Rainbow, up, flat, down, etc. I like a flat bar, about yay wide, set up with a slight incline, with the lip slightly below it, so it's sitting above it. So you got to kind of ollie up and on, straight. I'm very simple when it comes to rails these days. I don't need anything crazy. Like I'll hit a flat down flat or a DFD every now and then, get a little sideways if I have to, but that's about it. Let's see. I think we're caught up on those boards. Another $2 super chat from Bottled and Cork. Rest in peace, Jonathan L. Buckstacker House Adventures. You guys are having too much fun with this. Abraham Lefevre, which is French for the fever. The DOA kind of sucks. It's super boring. I don't know. I wrote it. I mean, I didn't consider it boring. Like the old one was definitely boring. The new one that I rode this year, that was actually really fun. Let's see. Cami Cakes, 190 pounds, size 10 boots, 157 or 159 Mercury. Only in the park on occasion. Go with the 59 then. That'll give you more surface area, longer effective edge for ripping carves. You don't need that shorter size for lowering your swing weight and stuff. Brandon Heineman, what's your favorite trick? Turning. That's about all I got left these days. Funk Farmer, do you think now that Vail owns Mount Snow, I'll start seeing those pussy yellow vests, or is that just a color thing? No, you're going to see it at all of them. Their their goal is to be the Disney or whatever of winter sports, and everything has to be family friendly. That's why I'm actually surprised Inferno still exists up at Mount Snow, because I have a feeling that they're going to start pulling the plug around the Northeast on their parks, which is going to be the kiss of death for them, because they really have nothing to offer in terms of epic everything there, especially with like it raining all the time. Okay, Andrew Heading to Colorado for spring break on Epic Pass. We've got 7 days. Planning on spending most days at Vail. Worth going to Brett Keystone, Beaver Creek. Go to Beaver Creek. Fuck Vail. I don't even give it. Like, if I had to choose between Vail or Beaver Creek, I would ride. Honestly, like Beaver Creek would be the resort I would ride the rest of my life if I could. I'm honestly waiting for Vail Resorts to collapse financially and Beaver Creek to be sold off, and then I'm going to move over to that side and become a Beaver Creek socialite. Beaver Creek is fucking the greatest resort. You have heated outdoor escalators. That's the thing. They take you to the mountain. You have surface lifts anywhere that the mountain actually can't get you there because that resort was designed through computer 3D imaging so that it follows the natural fall line. I mean, it's almost impossible to get stuck there. On a powder day, the only people ripping power are the locals because all the tourists are scared to get off the groomer. That's why they have a 24-hour cat train that's driving around grooming everything. At 2:30, I think it's 2:30 or it's 2:20, something like that. Maybe it might be 3. You get free fresh baked chocolate chip cookies in the base area. Now they tell you it's only 1, but I think my record is like 28. That's why I've got the Beatus. Also, you can go get the champagne toast after that at the Chop House, which is free as well. No, everyone and their brother should ride Beaver Creek at some point in their life. As far as Brecker Keystone, you're coming out for spring break. I have a feeling there's going to be a bunch of college groups in town that week. It's going to suck over here. Like, you're not really missing anything by not coming over to them. I mean, the town of Breckenridge is really cool. There's some great restaurants, but I think you'll be fine with Vail and Beaver Creek. Savoy, I've been trying to convert my brother to snowboarding. What would be a good beginner board for a 5'6", 105-pound 14-year-old? If you want something that he can actually like really progress with, I'd look at the Flow or the Nidecker Merc. That would be a really solid one. Or you could maybe put him on Nidecker. Was it the Play? Is that the one? It's not the. Maybe it's the Score. I can't remember. It's one of those. That would be good. Solomon Pulse would be another one. You could put him on the Burton Instigator. Is it? Yeah. It's the Burton Instigator. Or yeah, I think that's what it's called. That would be another one you could put him on. Yeah, I think those would be some solid one. Coglio knows. How's that drink? What flavor? So I'm drinking sparkling CBD lemonade. These are phenomenal. It tastes like lemon lime slice from the 1980s with real sugar. And these things are great because here's your ingredients: sparkling water, organic agave nectar, natural flavor extracts, non-GMO citric acid, PCR hemp extract. This stuff just makes my joints after snowboarding and working out and everything just feel fucking phenomenal. There's no THC. It's just CBD in there. So these things are phenomenal. Brett Copeland, in many videos you talk about being banned from Vail Resorts. Can you please explain which time? I've been banned twice. I think I could try for the trifecta. I think everyone that got me banned the last time has been fired. So I've probably been wiped from the record. But all I'm gonna say is you pile drive one guy in the lift line and you're the asshole. So Dominic Robinson, have you ever tried the Rome Mechanic? I haven't. That's one board that they never it's like literally the one board they never send me. And we got a comment here from creepy superfan Alan Russell. Avern bullshit. The most angry thing you've done is work 100+ hour weeks. I win. Yeah, just yeah. I do work like 100-hour weeks. It's a little less. I think I'm only working like 80 hours a week now for Angry now that I quit the liquor store. But when I was working at the liquor store, like just so everyone frame a reference, I was working between 32 and 45 hours a week at the liquor store and doing all this content and everything. So yeah, at a point now where it feels good to be able to fucking actually not have to work so many hours and burn myself out. Let's see. Okay, Jaybird and Lou. Arbor Cypress, use your words, epic story, OG. So here's the thing. I forgot to touch on this in the podcast with Kevin. We wanted to put out a little public service announcement. The arbor bindings, like, they're good. The problem is the machine that is tightening the screws with the Loctite is tightening them so hard that they're stripping out when people go to loosen them up to adjust them. And because of that, I don't think we can recommend them anymore. I've just had too many people having issues with it. So I think that they ride great. I think that they're designed immaculately. I just think that the machining that's putting them together, unfortunately, is hindering them. Like almost, I'd say at least 5 to 10 times a week, I get told that people are stripping screws, you know? All right. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Uh, Jonathan Kosiana. Got to move to Colorado so I can deck some mofos. Don't move to Colorado. It's fucking crowded. This place is awful. Move to Utah and then hang out with Alan. It'll be amazing. Let's see what we got here. Okay. J58 for joint health, try 10 grams of collagen or glycine 1 to 2 times per day, especially before gym or riding to get the nutrients to the tendons. I actually take collagen peptides. I got you on that. So we're good. Um, yeah. That's kind of everything with that. I do everything I can for my joints. Like they're better than they were 4 years ago, but I unfortunately have nothing left in my knees. Like I have no cartilage. Oh, Olive, ever ride Taos? No, actually, funny story. I decided earlier this week, I was like, oh, the Southwest is going to get pounded. I should go to Taos. Then I could go over to Red River. And then I'll just drive over to Arizona and go to China Peak or whatever the fuck that place is called because it's on my Indy Pass. And I was all about it and was getting ready to plan it out. And then I realized it was MLK weekend, and I was like, what the fuck? I can't go there now. So I think maybe next week I'm going to go down that way. Um, so there's that. Let's see what we got going on here. The Huggy Bear 516. Can you find us a rider's choice for a playful all mountain rocker board? The finest will be way more playful than the rider's choice. The rider's choice is stiffer than people think it is. It's a more aggressive board. The finest will be like buttery and playful, but can still hold an edge. Really enjoyed that board for an asymmetrical twin. Yeah. Brett M. Awesome live stream. Still laughing. You should live stream your interactions in lift lines or on lifts. Might lose a little deniability on the downside, but the revenue would pay your legal costs. See, if you film it, you have incriminating evidence. If you have incriminating evidence, you're fucked. This is why stupid people get caught. They film it. Then they put out raw video that's been horribly edited with a voiceover. And then they wonder why people are mocking them. But I fully plan to never film these interactions. I want these to go down in infamy as maybe they happened, maybe they didn't. The people that were there know that they did. I know that they did because I haven't had enough concussions to erase that from my memory. But at some point, I'm probably going to have dementia and then I'll forget everything. Let's see. Jonathan L. Stackhouse, do you listen to any snowboard podcast? Effing Rad podcast is really dope. No, no, I don't. I don't listen to anything. The only podcast that I remotely listen to is the Completely Unnecessary podcast with Ian Ferguson and Pat Contry out of San Jose or San Diego or somewhere down there. I think it's San Jose. And they just talk about retro video games and wrestling and other stupid shit that no one ever cares about. But that's the only one I watch or listen to. Actually, I watch it on YouTube, and I just watch the segments and shit. And that's kind of it. I don't have time for anything else. Let's see what we got going on here. Chris Kopczynski, heading to Colorado between Copper and A Basin. Where is a good area to be centrally located? Going to Steamboat first. Any other places on Nikon you would recommend? So if you're coming to Summit, stay in Frisco. That puts you 10 minutes to Copper, 20 minutes, give or take, to A Basin. Plus, you can be to Aspen in 2 hours. And I would definitely make the drive to Aspen if you get the chance. So especially if you're not if you're heading in next week, because that's X Games, and X Games. Actually, go to Aspen during X Games. Just don't go to Buttermilk where the games are. Go to the other mountains and they'll probably be empty. But yeah. Edward Haskell, I keep packing out my Thraxis liners long before the shells are dead and on my third pair. Since you also use that boot, have you found other liners that fit? Not stoked to pay $450 just to get liners. I haven't had a problem with the line. Like, I can get like 200 days out of the liner if I really push it. So what I usually do is I always end up destroying the shells before anything else. Like, my liners are finally starting to pack out in these ones. So I'm going to take the new liners that I pulled out because I didn't want to use them and just shove them in the shell and run those right now, probably through the rest of the season. You might look at the Remind Insoles aftermarket liner. I think it's $129. I know that you can get a, what is it? It's the aftermarket, the Intuition snowboard liner will probably fit in there. I'd be really curious where exactly you're packing it out. If you can send me a photo to info@angrysnowboarder with your liners and like let me look at them. I'm just curious how you're packing them out, because maybe just adding some extra foam in the liner just to suck up like heel lift and the top of the tongue, like any of the stuff we covered in the Boot Fitting 101 series, might be able to prolong the life of the boot for you. Ooh. Roy Forrest with the $4.99 super chat. Hey, everyone. Warpig versus K2 Party Platter versus Marhar Lumberjack is a volume shifted POW board that's first stall, or another board. Your take. So this would be the order I would get it: Lumberjack, Warpig, Party Platter for POW. So that's how they would ride POW. Like, I would get the Lumberjack for a true twin freestyle POW board. Then I go to the Warpig. It's a little directional. And then I would go to the Party Platter. Like, the Party Platter, yeah, it'll be able to ride POW. It's volume shifted, blah, 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 blah. But in terms of versatility, I think it goes Warpig, Party Platter tied with the Lumberjack. So like the Warpig's just a little more versatile in there. But I think you're on the right track with those three. You can't go wrong with any of them. Mark, I heard Kevin from SPC say Gilson have good tech in one of his videos. Is this true? Fuck no, Gilson doesn't have good tech. Fuck, I got one over there. They claim that they've never had a board break. I've got one that's completely de-lammed, like full-blown peeled. Kevin and I actually, Kevin Hub, we want to pull it apart and show you what's inside of it. Like, their tech isn't original. They claim they invented it, but Dynastar did it back in the 70s. It's not anything new, and you can't tune their boards because it's got that elevated edge. It's so fucked. Like, those boards, every time I've looked at them, they just look like garbage. They look like they were made by crackheads. Let's see. Oh, let's see what we got going on here. Matthew Smith, any good resorts for POW in the Northeast? Smuggler's Notch, maybe, if they get snow. I had a decent POW day once at Sunday River, Maine. I think any resort can be decent if they have a good base and they get snow. If they don't have a base and then they get a ton of snow, you're just fucking hitting rocks. Tyler Hansen, should I start wearing beacons inbounds? I live in Ride Out West. Seems like a lot of people dying riding a flying couch. That's funny that you mentioned that. Kevin and I actually talk about this in the new podcast we're going to drop on Monday, and how this might become something that we're going to see, especially with more avalanche prone conditions coming out. Yeah, it's I. It's weird. Like this year has been just so prolific for inbounds avalanches that have had fatalities. Ugh. The Jihad Joe, what's a good guide for sizing powder boards? It depends if you're going volume shifted or regular. If you're going regular, I always say size up anywhere from 4 to 8 centimeters above your normal size, depending where you're riding. So if it's like, and what kind of terrain you're riding. Like, obviously, if you're riding wide open, blower, steep and deep pow, size up as much as you feel comfortable sizing up. If you're riding more like lower angle, tight trees, you want to keep it more in tune with like maybe a little sized up than your regular size, or actually at your regular size. And if you're going volume shifted, 4 to 8 centimeters smaller, depending on what board it is and where you're going to ride. I mean, each board is kind of individual. Okay, another super chat from Roy Forrest. Also, quadralizer side cut versus magnet traction versus grip tech is East Coast rider. Does it make a difference if quadralizer side cuts well tuned? If it's well tuned, it'll grip better, but that quadralizer I just find isn't as grippy as magnet traction or grip tech. Grip tech's my personal favorite because it puts the contact points directly underfoot, so you can really steer it there a lot more like a skateboard with loose trucks. Than magnet traction, and that's really what I would go with. Ooh. See to the suggestions for a progressive female rider who doesn't want anything really directional on rides in Japan. Trying to get her to do trees looking at Joan's twin sister, Joan's Dreamcatcher, K2 Wildheart. She doesn't want anything really directional. I'd probably go with the twin sister. That's the safer bet. Or you could look at like the Hell Yes from Yes Snowboards as well, or maybe go to like one of the Arbor boards, or the Wild Heart might be a little too directional for her, but maybe the Cold Shoulder would fit her needs. So yeah, there's that. Let's see what else we got going on here. Whew. Banana Pants. Gilson makes an Indiana State snowboard. None of that makes sense. I believe that there are 3 ski resorts in Indiana. I might be wrong, but I think there's 3, at least 2. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of Iowa or Illinois. I don't know. They're all flyover states. Ugh. Turning Park, do you change your high back angles, and do you think that makes a difference? I don't. I keep them stock, and here's why. Some people tell you that you need to rotate your high back so that it's parallel to your back edge. Here's my reasoning. Your foot's angled whatever angle, right? So when your knee comes back, it's coming back straight, like because your knees don't rotate, right? So it's going to come back straight. So if your high back is like this and you're coming back, you're not putting full pressure in it. But if your high back's like this, you're putting that pressure right in there for response. So I don't rotate my high backs. So there. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see if there's any more VIP questions. I think we're I think we're kind of good with the VIP questions. We're 2 hours in, still have 100 people in here. Haven't put you guys to sleep yet. The Huggy Bear 516. Are Endeavor boards actually worth it? Fuck yeah, they are. They make some really fucking fire-ass boards. Unfortunately, they're so Canadian, they don't know how to get out of their way to sell to the rest of the world. I feel like Endeavor, like, if America, like, members of the United States ran that brand, they'd have better international distribution. They're just a little too Canadian for their own good, but the boards are fucking phenomenal. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got going on in here. I think we're kind of catching up on questions there. Is there anything up above I missed? Also, I just want to share with everyone that I got a comment today that someone finally realized that the background in all of our videos was a green screen. He always wondered why the view always looks so pristine. I want to know who would believe that the view out that fake ass window that we have on the green screen, like that the house would be that high up that the clouds are below us like that. Ah, man. Oh, let's see. Brandon Heineman, have you gotten to ride Ryan Paul's board? Have issues with Zion? Tried to work with them, but they have too many people that are in the God Squad, and religion and I don't go together. So I mean, maybe if they worship Satan, I'd be cool with it because Satanists are all inclusive, but God Squad, not my thing. Bottled and cork. Who the fuck would believe you have a jackalope trophy? I have a jackalope. It's at my parents' house, and I have a stuffed jackalope. You can buy them for $250. I also have a stuffed deer's ass, like literally the ass of a deer that's stuffed and mounted. Like, oh, that shit. Jackalopes are easy to come by. Uh, okay, not going to be able to even squeeze. You'll be squeezing like with an 11 roughly on the 61. I'd probably say you'd be better off going to the warp speed instead. Ugh. Legendary Steve, Signal Reviews. Kevin should have a review for the WoW coming up soon if I don't steal it from him and go ride it. Otherwise, I'm going to try to reach out to Mark over there and hopefully get some. Let's see. Okay. Water bottle. Is it worth riding without high backs? It depends. Some people swear by it, some people don't. I've done it. I don't like it because I like having ankle support and stuff. So what it does is first off, you need to have a soft boot because if you don't and you go too far back, you're going to snap the back spine in your boot. And that can create all sorts of fucking problems. But the other thing is the lateral play in there and whatnot. You're going to get a lot of it in there. Like basically, you're strapped in, so your leg can move can just go in like a circular motion from the ankle as a pivot point. So it's not for everyone. When I was a kid, I rode Moro low backs, and I think the high backs were like this high. You could really tweak the shit out of grabs. But as I've gotten older and need more support, definitely doesn't work for me. Nathan Sue, does the Yes Typo or the GNU Rider's Choice have more float? Yes. Yes, they both have more float. They're snowboards. Like, they're both going to float equally. I think the Typo is a little bit better just because of the camber profile in it, but they're not really POW boards. But just remember, every snowboard can float and POW, and if you know how to ride POW, you won't have a problem with it. I mean, I've ridden POW on like jib boards because I've had to, and it's worked. So, okay. I think we're caught up on questions there. The Huggy Bear 516. Are you going to try and get any boards from the bakery? God, I would love to get some bakery snowboards. For anyone that doesn't know, you can follow the bakery on Instagram. It's at Bakery Snowboards or whatever, or at the bakery. But the snowboards are their shaping is phenomenal. They remind me a lot of like Moonchild snowboards. That is a brand that like has blown my mind since they came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, these look like really, really fun. Ugh. Typhoid, what are the most annoying questions you get asked a lot? Why I got banned from Vail? Will you review this when I've actually already reviewed it? Do you think that I should sell this, or people that want self-validating questions? One of the weirdest, most annoying ones was someone actually asked me to call them. Like, you need to call me. And I was like, I don't need to do shit. So, no. I get a lot of annoying questions lately. Hand holder questions. Like, someone will ask me a question comparing two boards. So I give them, what's going on with it. Then suddenly those two boards come into one of those boards plus another two boards. Then I pick one of those, and then, they want me to hold their fucking hand because they're so indecisive. That's the most annoying thing. Or people ask like really vague questions, and I'm just like, sure, yes, no, I don't know. You didn't give me enough fucking shit to go with. Uh, okay. Andreas Cesarian, what are some of the topics you have in mind for top 25 videos? I have nothing in mind for a top 25 video except for the top 25 stupid things the Good Ride does, because these guys are a bunch of fucking kooks. I saw someone try to say that James Beastie could actually fucking ride. That guy is such a fucking kook. Weight on his back foot, just charging straight down the hill. Jaybird and Lily, you mentioned Mervyn boards should be taken right to the shop. Am I going to fuck up the orca up in the trees, or did I misinterpret? You misinterpreted. Basically, the finish on the base, it's not stone ground. It's just very rough. I'm talking like you take it to the shop, get a stone ground, get some structure in there, you'll be fine. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Dan Rao, do you think the average snowboarder can pick out the subtle differences in the boards you review? Nope. I don't. I think they believe that they can. I mean, I've had people try to tell me that they could feel the difference in a 1 degree base bevel on a board, and it affected their riding down to the nanosecond. And this is someone that rides like 10, 15 days a year. I don't. I don't think if I took a board that the person was riding and I could pull it apart and move the carbon a centimeter, I doubt that they would even notice it. Like, most people, like, if you ever look at the reviews, and someone tried to call me out on this once, they're like, all you ever do is say the same thing: softer in the tips, little stiffer underfoot, little torsional flex. There's a lot of boards that have that. Like, I'd probably say 70%, 80% of all snowboards, that's kind of how the flex is if it's a twin. And what most people need is a medium flexing board with decent torsional flex, little bit of stability underfoot, a little bit of camber maybe, or a flat to rocker. Just they just need something there to give them a little bit of pop underfoot, and then maybe they need a little edge holder. They need a good sharp edge and a good side cut, and they're good to go. Like, I was thinking about it today. I was thinking about if I quit angry, and I was like, if I quit angry, I'd probably go back to riding 1 or 2 boards a year for myself. I'd probably have a powder board, and I'd have a twin all mountain freestyle board. And that's all I would have. And I'd be the happiest fucking man on earth. And I'd have 2 sets of the same binding, one on each board. They'd sit in the car, and I would just pull them out and go ride. And that's it. And I was like, I wouldn't care. Like, demo days would come up, and I'd be like, don't care. It'd be one of those things where I could go back to walking into a shop, read the tech specs, and go, sounds good to me. And I just go fucking ride. Like, I think the big issue with most people is they don't ride enough. And like, they try to blame their equipment or whatever. And I was like, a poor craftsman blames his tools. So I'm like, that's kind of where I think it is. Edward Haskell, other than they make subpar boards, what did Never Summer do to get on your bad side? So I was there when they invented the RC Tech, and I actually helped them with it. I didn't invent it. Don't get me wrong. I did not invent RC Tech. But I told them at the time that if it was funny, it was a conversation between me, Tim Canaday, and Tracy Canaday. So those are the founders. Tim's the board designer. Tracy runs the business side. We were at SIA, and they asked me about reverse camber, specifically the Skate Banana and the K2 gyrator. And they said, Avron, what do we need to do to compete with this? And I said, if you don't come out with something better than reverse camber or rocker, or at least on par with it, your company will be out of business. And so Tim got to work, and that's how they came up with the RC Tech. They claim they invented it. They did not invent it. There was a company called Inca Snowboards that had it years before. Mervin's got a photo with a whole bunch of boards next to a bus and Mike Olson waving from it. I still think that photo's Photoshop, but I could be wrong. But there's a board that looks like it's got C2 in it. But so they came out with it, and there was 8 or 10 test boards. I have test board number 8. Number 8 was the one that they went with, and they released it first on the SL, then the Evo. Then it went to the Legacy and the Revolver, which was the Legacy was the wide SL, and the Revolver was the wide Evo. And so they ran that for a few years, and I was doing product development with them. And, and I was like, they had a good thing going between that Vario and that, like the original one, the way it rides, like it rode like unlike anything else. And we realistically, snowboarding was so stagnant with camber that if we didn't get away from it, we would have lost more people at that time. And that was like 15 years ago, 10, 15 something years ago. And so I was working with them on that. And it went from Tracy telling me, he's like, hey, we're not buying you off. We're not doing this for your opinion, but we're going to give you boards. I was like, that's cool. And they were, I was always trying to give them back, and they wouldn't take them back. So I ended up just usually selling them to friends for like 150, or I would just give boards away. I just didn't care. I think I left like 2 or 3 of them just sitting by a dumpster one time at A-Base, and was like, you can just, whoever gets them, gets them. I don't really care. But as it came, they started picking up other people. Like, so there was a bunch of forums. There was snowboarding forum. There was snowboard.com. There was Snowboard Addict. There was Sierra Snowboards. And